I want to thank the Wolf family, Rick and Zim, for giving me this opportunity. Obviously, I've been in this league for a long time. I love this league. I love the game, and to have a chance to get back in that room and get back in that foxhole and battle a little bit, I'm really looking forward to it. So it's great to be here, and with that, I take any questions you got. I'll do my best.
Gary, what was your role in Denver as senior personnel advisor, and how?
You know what I really did? 2 years ago, I worked from home. Actually, I worked from my farm. I evaluated all the college players. Last year, I was back in the building. I was in the building full time. I watched practice every day. I evaluated all the college players coming out in this year's draft, so I'm kind of way ahead from that standpoint. So I was involved that way on a daily basis.
Gary, what do you see your role in helping Kevin?
You know, it's funny. I'm sitting here watching Kevin up here with you guys today, and it's interesting to me because it reminds me a lot of how I grew up as a coordinator. I was a young guy. Mike threw me in the room as an offensive coordinator. I was in there with Mike Shanahan, Alex Gibbs, and they pounded on me every day and made me a good football coach, you know, and taught me how to do things, how to teach, how to handle players, how to handle a group. And, you know, when I watch Kevin work every day, you know, we've got a good group in our room. We've got some veteran guys that have done this a long time. We've got some very bright young coaches on their way up. So Kevin's a very smart guy, but he's great with people. So I've been very impressed.
Gary, what was the genesis of you ending up here? First calls, who contacted who?
You know, really, you know, after doing the personnel for a couple of years in Denver, I knew I wanted to do some more. You know, when I stepped away from football a couple of years ago, I kept working. But I found myself wanting to do some more and more. As things went on, you know, they had their direction there. I mean, John made a great hire in Vic. I mean, what a tremendously qualified man in their direction. And so we talked a little bit, and I made a decision, you know, hey, I'm going to get out there and go a little bit longer and try to win a few more games. And, you know, I've known Zim for a long time. I respect him as a person. I respect him as a coach, and I respect how he tries to win. So we've had some conversations through the years, and so it was an easy, you know, talk for me to visit with him and think maybe if they might be interested in me doing something like this. So it just worked out that way, and I just felt very fortunate to be here. It was such a great organization.
Did you sort of feel throughout last season that you wanted to be back on the sideline, back with the?
Yeah, you know, I wanted to be smart. I knew I didn't want to come back and be a head coach. You know, I knew I wasn't going back in that direction, but I did want to be involved. I missed it. You know, heck, when I was involved with personnel, you know, let's face it, I didn't get a lot of calls for people to come ask me to come work in personnel, but people asked me to stay involved with coaching. So this gives me an opportunity at this stage of my career to still be involved. It's a unique opportunity the way this thing is set up, so I'm looking forward to it.
You mentioned it being a unique setup. Do you think it'll be hard at all not to call plays?
No, I look at it this way. You know, I mean, I called plays in this league for 25 plus years, you know, and I can tell you, I don't think I ever went to a game where I called everything myself. I mean, whether it was Mike, you know, coming on the headset saying, hey, Coop, how about this? Or whether it was Rick Dennison or Mike Sherman or Kyle Shanahan who worked for me. You know, I think, you know, as a group, you know, Kevin's got a job to do. It's our job as coaches to help him in any way we can. And when you've got people, who has called games, Rick Dennison's called games as a coordinator in Buffalo. So I think we've got a lot of experience around him to help him out.
It's such a passing league now, the NFL. Can you dominate in the run and still win big in the NFL?
Well, I think you got to do what you got to do to win. But I know that the head guy here wants to be physical. He wants to be mentally and physically tough as a football team, and I think that's where winning starts. You know, personally, every good offense I've ever been around runs the ball pretty good, and you know, I sit there and watch New England run the heck out of the football, you know, this season. So I believe in that. I think he gives you a chance to make big plays. So as Kevin said, we're trying to marry everything we're doing running pass so that it gives us an opportunity to do that.
Kevin talked about the mutual respect you have for each other in the coach's room. What do you think is the source of loyalty that you and Rick and even Brian have had over the years that you've often found yourself in the same spot?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. We've just done it a long time together. You know, we've been in a lot of battles in this league. Probably Rick and Brian and I probably 250 plus football games in this league coached together, and we've been around some good coaches. You know, that's good leaders. So that's helped us along the way. But I think the unique thing about us coming here with Kevin, I think it gives us an opportunity to do something quickly. You know, we can flip a switch real quick, get in a room, we're all on the same page. You know, instead of you know, eight guys coming from different places. So I think it's helped us get up and running pretty quickly.
Hey Gary, the 2 years stepping out of the rigors of head coaching and all the stress of that, what do you think you learned just about your own health and well-being and kind of managing that?
Well, I'd probably say the same thing a lot of guys. It really makes you appreciate, you know, what you're a part of. You know, I mean, I've been in this league 30-some years as a player and a coach. You know, heck, I missed it, you know, I really did. And there's just something about at the end of the week, you know, did we get a W or not, you know, and that feeling. And though working in personnel was fun, and I enjoyed that portion of it. That's challenging as well from a draft standpoint, putting a team together. I miss being in there with some of those coaches and battling each week. I love being around players. I love to teach. So this gives me an opportunity to get back and do that.
When did you first meet Kevin, and what have your impressions been?
You know, I've known Kevin a little bit through my son, but actually I studied a lot of young coaches last year. That a lot of these young guys have gotten jobs and become head coaches. I studied a lot of young coaches, and I knew a lot about Kevin from that standpoint, and had a lot of conversations about him. He's got a bright future.
Given that you played quarterback as well, what would the relationship be like with Kirk Cousins, or how much do you want to work, you know, independently with it?
Yeah, I think, you know, it helps you look through the eyes of, you know, I put myself in that pocket, you know, when he's back there, you know, what would I think here? What would I think about that call or that situation? So I know a lot about Kirk. I studied him coming out, obviously got to know him through the draft process. And then I got to know him even better through Mike and Kyle through the years. So, you know, I know he's driven to succeed. He's a hell of a player, and we got to do everything we can to help him out. And, you know, I look forward to that relationship, you know. So hopefully being in there a little bit, John let me plan my career. Hopefully I can recall some of those things.
Gary, what makes Rick Dennison an expert at the run game?
Well, he's an engineer by trade. Joe knows that, right? So he's too smart. He's so smart. He's in there. I mean, we give him a hard time all the time, but you know, Rick was raised under Mike and Alex Gibbs and scheme-wise, and so he's a great teacher and how to break things down, how to start from the bottom up and what he's trying to get done. And then, you know, somebody asked a great question of Kevin a while ago about marrying the run and the pass, having a run coordinator. Actually, I think it's a huge help. I know for me, as a play caller for all them years, having Rick design the run game, come to me, help me go marry what we're going to do pass-wise with his run schemes that week. I think that's a big plus.
Is there maybe an example or something where he's seen something that you didn't see? Or, I mean,
oh yeah, I mean when I called game with Rick, I mean I was 100% confident. Hey Rick, give me your top 3 runs when I go into this next series. You know, it's 3rd and 3, I want to run it, but what do you want? You know, so I was talking to Rick all the time and a lot of confidence in, you know, what he felt like we should do.
What do you think of the Vikings offensive line that you studied so far, and then do you know a lot about the other personnel that you know in the free agency?
You know, obviously we're not with players yet, you know, so our focus has been all the coaches getting on the same page, getting a book together, getting ready to teach here in April. You know, I know a little bit. Obviously, I've studied their past couple of seasons to, you know, look at players and give my opinion to Zim and Rick and those type of things. But really, we just touched the surface right there. I would say we're more into our book right now and what we want to be offensively.
How much can scheme impact the performance of offensive linemen?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, you're going to do what your players do best. You know what I mean? And obviously, the word zone comes up a lot when you talk about us offensively and what we do. I mean, we've got to run some gap schemes too. You can't be so predictable. So I think we got to take a look at our guys and see how they fit and what, you know, how we want to go about this. But I think that's why this offseason will be so important. I mean, our ability to catch up and teach and be good teachers starting on April 15th is extremely important.
Here, how's your health these
My
days?
health, I'm good. Other than this hip I had replaced a couple of months ago, I feel great.
Coach Stefanski mentioned how you kind of impacted him from afar in the studies that he did. What does that do for you to hear young and upcoming coaches?
It makes me feel old a little bit, you know, but we get in that meeting room and, no, it's fun. It's really, and I love Zim comes in our meetings too, and I love that as a coach. I think that's so important. But, you know, we're getting Zim's defensive perspective. Kevin's getting my perspective on how I've taught through the years and how I may teach the progression on this for the quarterback. So you're getting a lot of information there. It's not like just one set of eyes. You're getting some really good eyes there looking at things, and we all get heading in the right direction.
in studying young coaches over the last few years and kind of seeing this offensive explosion where guys are, you know, coordinators for 2 years and they're already in head coaching positions, and where Kevin's at, and he's waited, you know, quite a while to where he is now an offensive coordinator. What makes him different in that mix of these young offensive minds?
Well, I can't speak for Kevin, but I would say, looking from afar as an older coach who's done this, I love Kevin's path, how he's grown up, you know, and he's been in this organization, what, 10, 12 years, I think, guys. I mean, he started from an intern, and now he's a coordinator, and Kevin's going to be a head coach in the National Football League. I think that's really neat to see. You know, I've got a son here, obviously, y'all know that, and me watching him come up over the last 8 or 9 years and, you know, get beat on a little bit. I use that word again by some really good offensive minds and meeting rooms and stuff. So I think Kevin's path is really good. Did I answer your question?
Couple more for Coach Kubiak.
What value have you found over the years of assistants who have worked in multiple position rooms?
Well, I think it's really good, you know, because each room has a different way. I mean, you go in a tight end room, how do you go about teaching those guys? An offensive line room, you know, how do you break down your teaching? For Kevin, I think he's coached, I know he's coached running backs, I think he's receivers, quarterbacks. It does give you a heck of a perspective. I was a running back coach my first job in college, and I was at Texas A&M, and I mean, I wanted to go watch a passing game. I didn't want to, you know, and Mike Sherman made me get in a room and watch the end zone film, and he taught me how to run the ball and what his problems were as an offensive line coach. So I think you learn to really appreciate the ability to come up that way.
How good can Delvin Cook be?
Well, I'm really excited watching him play. You know, I know he's coming off the injury and looked totally healthy at the end of last year, but you know, when you got players like that, you got to find a way to get the ball in their hands, and Kenny does a great job with the back. So we got a good group to work with.
How do you envision game day going with your communication with Kevin? Are you going to be in a booth talking to him on a headset? Are you down on the sidelines? Or?
Well, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but it looks like I'm going to the booth. I'm going to help Kevin from up there. So I love that. It's a great perspective up there. And as a play caller, I think you need to be down there and get a feel for the game and what's going on from an emotional standpoint. So hopefully I can see the big picture up there and help all I can. Thank you. Thank you very much.